Okay, hi, I'm Angela Hughes, a luxury travel entrepreneur, and welcome to the show today. This channel is about helping you sell more premium and luxury travel. And today I have an amazing guest on who I haven't spoken to for a couple of years when I was actually on his podcast, Richard Earls with Travel Research Online, and he has developed an amazing product. So Richard, why don't you introduce yourself today? We have so much to talk about and I've got a million questions for you. So
Okay, good. Yeah, please take the questions. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everyone. The whole concept of artificial intelligence being used in travel is really interesting. And travel, there's some unique opportunities here that we're going to talk about. Give you a little bit about my background. I was at one sad part of my life. I was actually an attorney. Um,
I did not know that.
yeah. I spent 3 years of law school, and then I practiced for 3 years before I decided I really didn't want to do that anymore. And I bought a travel agency. And so I became a travel agent, and we worked in that travel agency for about 10 years. And towards the last period, I was interested in some technology that was emerging through the internet.
Okay.
And so I developed that technology, and Travel Weekly bought it from me. It was actually an emergency alert system for any kind of crisis in travel, and it so happened that 9/11 happened right at that time, and it was suddenly a hot commodity, and I sold it to Travel Weekly. I went to work for them as a publisher, and worked with them for 3 years. Came up with the idea for TRO, Travel Research Online, and they decided they didn't want to do it. So I hopped off, did it myself. And then we started Voyager websites and producing inexpensive, customizable websites for travel agents. And that went really well, but that's kind of a static market. And then we started talking about content marketing. And really, that's the origin of our beta. The whole content marketing aspect of this is all about um, making sure that you stay top of mind with clients. Now, and
Okay.
I'm going to sort of keep
Let's
going.
start right there before we get into the meat and
Okay.
potatoes of
Yeah, I will just go on and on. So if
have
you
you
want
take
to turn this into more of a
so,
formal interview, I'm good with that.
yeah. So let's start for a minute because already we have 50 people logged in watching from all over the universe here, and more are going to be joining us. But if someone's brand new to artificial intelligence, so I want to start with the basics because we've got rookies on here. We've got people that are really techie like me that have been involved with AI probably since it came out. But let's start with what is an artificial intelligence and why would somebody feel like they needed to dive into that?
Well, artificial intelligence is not really intelligent. And I think that's the first myth that kind of needs to get busted. What it is a language model. And it's been trained, I think, largely through the internet and through Wikipedia. Chat GTP is what I'm referring to. And it was trained in the way that humans react to input. It was trained in the way that humans express themselves in
Okay.
response to a question. And so it is a huge advance over the Googles of the world for right now. But to call it intelligent is a little bit of a it's a little bit of hype. It's not really there. It is not creative intelligence. It is generative. It is repeating back to you what it knows, and it's doing it in a very creative, human-like fashion.
Okay. So with so many competing artificial intelligence out there, you went home and you decided to like create your own brand, so to speak.
Right, and the rationale there was that there's nothing specific to travel. Now you can go to ChatGTP, you can ask it a question, and very easily it'll come back with an answer. That question is not always 100% accurate. I mean, well, I'll put it that way. The question is not always 100% accurate in terms of the way it ought to be asked. And the response is often laced with dubious facts,
Mm-hmm.
or things that need to be fact checked. And so we saw an opportunity to step in and modify ChatGTP. We used their API. Right now, we're still on 3.5 because 4 really hasn't stabilized yet. And by training our version of AI, which we call Oliver, on the back end, we began training it in travel. And so our Oliver will tell you that he's an expert in travel marketing. His mission is to help travel agents write good prose. Though few times I've seen forms and poetry being written on the backside there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but our Oliver thinks a bit differently, and we are continuing to feed it travel information. In fact, a project we have going on right now is feeding it a lot of destination information, so that it will have not only some information that Chat GTP doesn't have in its native environment, but it will also have more current information for those things that we're training it on.
Okay, now I've gone out and before I was before having this conversation with you, I've always used Jasper and other artificial intelligence
Right.
to load in my information. I can use it with SEO as well, so I get more bang for my buck in my web pages. Let's talk about the plagiarism aspect right out of the bat for this, because I'm always nervous when I go in and create a paragraph. Am I plagiarizing? And I'm an academic, so former college professor. So I'm huge on the plagiarism piece and always a little bit nervous about that. And then my daughter who's in college knows that I have this tool, and now I'm afraid she's plagiarizing her papers. She's not using it, but she's like, "Hey, what's that tool you use?" And I'm like, I don't want any college student to know about AI, which they all do.
Right.
But how's it kind of changing the way that, and like you own a publication. I mean, you're a publisher. Like, how is it changing for people in writing and travel as well? I mean, now I can write with the best of them, with
Well, yeah, I'm a professional writer. I've written my entire career. The I've won awards for my writing, and I am thoroughly sold on Chat GTP and our version of it as Oliver. Is there the danger that people will misuse it? Yeah, yeah, just like they do everything. Um,
so
but
is there a copywriter like in panic now with artificial intelligence, or no?
Well, here's what we suggest that everyone do as a best practice is we indicate that people should never think that Oliver is writing for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing with them.
Okay.
So that's the first step. Everything that we suggest people do is first of all to fact check. You pull whatever has been produced out and you fact check it, because we've seen demonstrations of this. AI will hallucinate. AI will invent a fact it doesn't have, and so you really need to fact check everything. Now we've got good ways to do that, and we're teaching our agents how to do that. But everything has to be fact checked. The second step we tell everyone to do is to add your own brand voice. You can take a piece of AI content and pretty much, if you've been around it a lot, you can pretty much tell AI generated it. There'll be repeated phrases. There'll be sort of pat things. They'll do things a good writer would never do, like Chat GTP will end an essay with, in conclusion, and it's very sort of stylistic that way.
And I've seen
So,
that happen before with artificial intelligence, that it ends the same conversation every single time the same way. So you would never
right.
like
So
that.
this is what we do to avoid that. We teach prompting, and we have very specified ways that we want to see people prompt, and that's your input to get the output. And the better the prompt, the better the output. So that's the first thing. Second, we say take it out of the artificial intelligence once you've done it, and fact check it. Make sure the facts are good. The next step is to add your own brand voice. You've got to add your own phraseology. You've got to add your own way of thinking about things. You typically, what you're going to do as you prompt is you're going to stylize the direction you want the AI to take. So you're going to say, here's the conflict, and here's what I want to see come out of this article. Here's what I want my reader to know at the end of all this. So your prompt isn't typically a sentence.
We're creeping up to 100 people joining us on this call right now live.
Oh, good.
Tell me right now, like what's a question somebody would ask? And I know that we're going to go into a demo on this, but why did you develop for travel? Like, why wouldn't somebody just go out and use Jasper? Like, why would I switch over to you?
Because three things. First of all, artificial intelligence is only one piece of our content portal.
Okay.
So it's really meant, and we'll get back to the whole idea of content marketing. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it's because you've got a team of people sitting on top of it and watching it and training it in the travel industry. So it's the same way people can get a website anywhere, but I've got 1,100 websites of travel agents because they know I take care of them and they know I'll watch after them. And they know they can customize it. So it's a different thing when you work with people who are immersed in an industry and who are watching after you. So that's the biggest reason they would use us as opposed to using one of the other models that are out there.
But is your material actually trained more to like dive into the travel industry?
Yes.
And so it's looking, I mean, because you're feeding it material all day long on travel. So
he's getting a steady diet.
Okay, of travel all day long. Okay, so just for the people watching now, rookies, agents that have been in this for a while, people are saying in the comments, this is all new for me. I've wanted to get set up as a travel designer. It'd be good to know how to understand it. The best way to start. How does somebody start using artificial intelligence? For me, it was simply I didn't have time to write. And so it was great to like be able to put this out into a blog post or to be able to have an idea and put it out into a course or something that I was teaching and so forth. For a new advisor, for new professionals, what's the first step in all of this?
Well, it's to try it. And there are a number of outlets. We have a beta going on now. In fact, we've just had to extend the beta out for an additional 5 days. So at the end of this, I'll show everybody how they can log in and you can play with our version of it. You can see what that's all about, and you'll get free content as a result. But it really is a matter of experimentation. I don't buy into this sort of hyped fear of AI. It's a tool. It's a tool like everything else, and tools can be misused, no doubt about it. College students will cheat on their essays, and I'm sure that people will shortcut the instructions that I'm giving them and not fact check and not check for plagiarism, and they will get themselves in trouble.
Okay, so how would someone fact check? How would they go out? Because we just sell travel and we don't know what
I'll give you an example. Yesterday, one of our agents had Oliver write a very complicated set of instructions for the airport, I think in Zurich, as I recall. And how do you get from your gate to baggage to a car? And she wanted to give step-by-step instructions. And Oliver spit out a great set of instructions. But the first thing I said when she showed, and it was really beautiful, that it was well written. But the first thing I said is, you got to fact check that, because you'll send your client off in the wrong direction if you're not careful. So it's like any other exercise. What I use Oliver for is not research per se. I use it for writing.
Okay.
If I've got to research something, I'm going to go to Google And one of the things we talk about all the time, it's a big difference between Google and Oliver. You wouldn't ask Google to write a letter for you. If you ask Oliver for an airfare, he's going to give you the wrong answer. He doesn't have any way of knowing, and he may even make it up.
Okay, I like that so much. So you're going to use it for writing. You're not necessarily going to use it for research. So this means you don't go in and ask it 29 questions to learn something. You're going to ask Google that. You're going to come in, take that information, put in those key fact points, and then it's going to help you write that up.
Right. When I show you some of the prompts, what we do is we essentially tell it what we want it to write. And we do it in such a way that we actually sort of give it the ending we want to see. And what we want people to know at the end of all that.
Right.
And because we ask people to write in complete sentence and to do all of that, they end up inputting as a prompt something that's unique. And what that means is the output they get is going to be unique. If you ask the identical question of both Oliver and ChatGTP, or two agents using Oliver ask the identical question, there'd be some risk that you'd be getting the same response back. I don't think I've never seen exactly the same response, but it would be very close. What you then do is you run it through a plagiarism checker. I use Grammarly. I have Grammarly on all the time, and I check it on Grammarly. There are free plagiarism checkers out there as well.
Okay.
So those are important steps, and shortcutting it eventually is going to get somebody in trouble.
Okay, so let's go in. I'm going to add it to the screen because we're going to show you guys a demo of this today. And if you like what we're talking about and you feel like this is interesting, let me know in the comments today. Okay, so here we go. We're going to add it to the screen. Tell us what you've got. I'm going to take
Okay, so let me back up just for a second to tell you about content marketing.
Okay, let's go there.
Most travel agents or advisors work with a client maybe 2-3 times a year. That client gets to interact in an intense fashion with the travel advisor.
Okay.
And that really is when the trip is being planned, during the trip, and just after the trip. And those are intense communications and good communications back and forth. But in the period between trips, you're out of touch. And so what happens is the traveler is like all of us. They get attracted by shiny objects. They see a lot of travel advertising. They have conversations with friends who have been places, done things. And the next thing you know, they're booking with somebody else. Now, ideally, you are staying in touch with them, staying top of mind. So when they think of travel, they think of you. But if you're relying just on those planning exercises in a year's time, you're going to lose touch with clients, and you're probably going to lose a client on occasion to some other vehicle.
Right.
Content marketing keeps you in front of that client.
So this is a perfect thing, people that are watching right now in the tribe here. This is a perfect thing to, like, if you need to put together 5 to 7 emails that you want to drip over the course of the year to this person once they booked with you, this is a perfect solution. Go in there, create a packing list, go in there and create 5 things to do, money, how to exchange money in Europe and in the best ways. These are the type of articles that you'd be creating, that you could be dripping content to someone, and then you're not losing touch with them. And then if you haven't had, a touch point with a client and they haven't booked per se, you can have a whole series of emails too that lead them to different things. And you can be creating those with artificial intelligence quickly.
Yeah, when you get into the beta Facebook group that we have, you're going to see some remarkable things that have been generated. I've asked people to share things that have been generated for them, and it's incredible. I mean, it is. I am still astonished. Look, I've been doing this for 35 years now in the travel industry, and I'm 67 years old. This is the most fun I have ever had.
It really
of any project.
It's addicting.
Of any project I have ever dealt with, this one astonishes me every day. It really does. It really does every day impress me, and that's a great feeling. That's a great feeling to be derived from work. So
Okay, so let's pull it up on the screen. Let's dive right into this. Mhm.
okay, so in the name of content marketing, we're more than AI. So we have, for example, templates. And these templates are Canva templates. And one of the reasons is time. Travel agents have trouble finding the time to write the blogs, to create the graphics, to do everything they need to do to stay in touch with the client. Because if you're looking at content marketing, you're looking at blogging, you're looking at social media, you're looking at creating packing lists for clients, you're looking at all the different ways that you reach out and touch them, lead magnets. So one of the things we do is we pack this with um, Canva templates that you can pull down and customize. You can change the photograph, you can change the text on it, you can use your own fonts, and Canva is free. A free account will do that. And here you can pull up a Facebook or an Instagram size.
But is
We
it okay? I have a question right off the bat. If you're pulling over Canva things, I mean, and 20 other people are pulling that over as well, am I then putting out original content, so to speak? If my other advisor, Susie, is watching this and she's pulling off that same ancient ruin slide thing that you've got right there. I mean, now
well,
are we
but
both material because I want to look super amazing because I am amazing. So I
well,
don't want to be sharing my amazingness with 500 of my other closest friends, you know?
fair enough. But
Mhm.
we have hundreds of these.
Okay.
So the chances that, remember, sharing is what the social media channels are about. So people are not going to be surprised to see similar content in multiple places. But we do recommend that people go in and they put a logo on it, that they change up the fonts, that they do some creative things with it. But
Okay.
remember what the purpose of this is to generate engagement with your clients. And so
Okay.
your clients are not out there checking out 50 travel agents to see if they're using the same material. They're not out there taking polls to see if you're printing the same article that somebody else printed. And if they are, they're just going to, if they do, they're just going to figure that you're both sourcing it from someplace and you both
Right.
are printing the same article. I've seen that article before. I mean, it happens
Right.
all the
Right.
time on social media.
Okay.
So one of the other pieces of content are slideshows. Again, we have dozens and dozens and dozens of these. And typically someone will put one slideshow a month on their site. These are 5 for the beta, but we have dozens and dozens of these that'll be in the system after the beta. Articles. These are written by really professional writers. By the way, this is one that I won an award for. But these are articles written by professional writers, and you can use it on your website. You can use it as a blog post. I'm teaching people how to draw traffic out of social media and put it on the website so that you've got a stream of traffic to your website from social media.
And are
That's what.
these articles SEO already, search engine optimized? Or
Yes.
okay.
Yes, they are. And of course you can search in any of these, you can search for particular topics and destinations. So if you're a safari specialist, this would come up for you certainly in that search. But again, remember that syndicated content, and this is syndicated content. In other words, more than one person is going to have it on their website. Just to clear up the mythology, syndicated content does not hurt SEO. Not in any way, shape, or form. Syndicated content does not help SEO, not in any way, shape, or form. So SEO is not what syndicated content is about. Syndicated content is there to make your website sticky. It's to draw people in, they say through social media, and it's to make them hang around on your site to see that you're a specialist in safaris or travel or whatever niche market you're marketing yourself as. So this is all syndicated content is about stickiness. It's not about originality. It's not about SEO. Makes sense?
Right, right.
Okay, so videos. We've got hundreds of videos. I won't take your time right now. And then we have web pages that really are a lot like lead magnets in a way. In fact, some of these were derived from lead magnets, but typically we place an article in here that, and we can look at one real quick. We put articles in here that are activity oriented and that you can use to build up your expertise and show it off to clients as an example of the types of work that you specialize in. We are also very careful, and it's a very important thing to me and all the staff that I have, that our materials are ethnically diverse. They are age diverse, and that's a very important thing for us.
Okay, we have some questions. We have so many questions coming in.
All right.
Here's the first one. Do you know if you can import your content into a Travefy website?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Second question.
We have people doing that right now.
Okay, if someone uses your articles, is that not considered plagiarism?
No, you're using it under a license I'm giving you.
Okay. Can someone modify the articles, or is that different from someone else? Let's see.
No.
Can we modify the article so it's different from someone else who uses it?
No, you can't. It's syndicated content.
Okay.
That would be like modifying a graphic. You can do that easily, but these live on our servers and they're not capable of being modified, and we don't want them modified. There are people have written these, professional writers have written them. We don't want them modified.
Okay, and another person says one of the main hindrances of templated products are helpful but not totally personalized to your company. Do you see a downside to that?
Personalize it. Yeah, what I would suggest you do is you take it and you do personalize it. You can with those.
Well, I thought you said it couldn't be modified. That's
what
I thought you said they couldn't be modified.
The templates can. The articles can't.
Okay, the articles cannot, but the templates can be modified.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so let's keep going. I just wanted to throw in some questions while we had it.
And then we have destination guides for your websites. And then Oliver AI.
Okay, so this is where it gets really exciting for me. So pay attention, everybody, of how this works.
So we have you can ask Oliver anything from right here, but we have developed workflows. And let's say that we want to write a social media post. We're going to give you some prompt tips. And all we're going to suggest is that you pattern your question to Oliver in the same format here as a minimum, and then you can begin adding on to it. So let's look at what are some good marketing phrases and quips for warm water vacations in the Riviera Cancun? And then I might add to it. Sorry about that.
So people, you have to do a little bit of work in this. I mean, you do have to give it some prompts. You have to give it some keywords.
Exactly. Now, and this is the one thing I like about having Grammarly on all the time is it takes care of my Oxford commas and my verbosity. So now you can see here, this piece of it right here is going to be unique to me. Even if somebody were to put this part in pretty closely in their prompt. So now we're going to ask Oliver to think about that. Now, typically coming up with these marketing phrases and quips for social media would take you some period of time. Oliver's going to do it in less than a minute. So let's say that you look at this third one, and you go, I like that. I think what I'm going to do is write a blog post. Here are the prompt tips. Here's what I want to write about. And let's copy some of this. And let's say I know that I want to write about C notes. I spell that right? CENOTES?
Yeah. TES. Yep.
I'm going to tell it I want an 800-word article. I'm going to tell it the tone of voice I want to use.
And okay, so that's an interesting point right there. How many words should somebody narrow into?
3.5 is terribly unreliable. Chat GTP 3.5 is very unreliable in the word count. So it probably is not going to produce 800 words. It's probably going to do around 600 in reality. Chat GTP 4 is much better, and you can get much longer. There is a limit of 4,000 characters between your prompt and your answer. And after that, it begins repeating itself and breaking up. So it will look back 4,000 characters. It will look down 4,000 characters. Our new version in 4 is 8,000. So you can double the length. And we've been playing around with 4, and it does a marvelous job of longer articles. So I'm going to send this off to Oliver. It would probably take me 3 hours to write that in terms of everything I would have to do to write a good article. He's going to give me a great head start. And what I say all the time is write with Oliver. Don't let Oliver write for you.
Yeah, so this isn't something that he writes the entire article. And is it weird that we're talking about Oliver as a child?
You know what?
I mean, we're treating him like he literally is a teenager now.
let me tell you what is really funny about this is he has taken on a total personality. When you get into the Facebook group, you'll see how everyone loves Oliver. Now there's some changes that are coming. He's growing. He wants to be a real boy. He's growing up. But yeah, it's fascinating to interact with Oliver. So here is the article.
And look at people, how that just like pops that out. Look how convenient that is. I've used this from everything for packing lists to, I just cannot name the multiple things I've used this for. In fact, I went on to talk about China just recently with an international newspaper. And literally, I had about 5 minutes to prepare, and I typed in a few things on China and got up to speed real quick just by using it. And so, if you're in a bind when you're going live with something, I had to get really refreshed on just like the international impact of China and politics, and threw in some knowledge there, and is spit back enough things that I had a few talking points where I could go live immediately. And so there's so many reasons that you can use this.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example here. This is a site that we use for travel agents. I want to show you something. This article on sushi right here. This is taken. Travel Hippie is one of my pseudonyms. I wrote this with Oliver. So by the time when you clean the article up, when you add your own brand voice and you throw photography into it, you've got one heck of a beautiful article.
Now, again, going back to every travel writer cringing right now, do they feel I mean, I know it's a market to pay people to write your blog post and copyright and so forth.
Well, I mean, and look, there's going to be some displacement. Don't think there isn't. I don't think professional writers are ever going to be replaced by Oliver, and I'll tell you why. Look at this. In summary, really, I mean, that's not the kind of thing a good writer is going to say. So what we tell everybody is to take this out of Oliver now, fact check it, make sure it's accurate, and then add your own brand voice to it. Clean up the language. Make sure it doesn't sound AI. Clean it up. You don't have to rewrite it. Use this as a framework, but don't just take this and post it.
Right. Okay, a question coming through. They said, are you actually having a conversation with Oliver, or does it only respond to a single question?
It's funny. What's really interesting here is that you are having a conversation. And I've seen some remarkable demonstrations of that. But here's another thing that we're doing that ChatGTP doesn't. You see this little guy over here? This little guy right here is whispering. You think that's Oliver, but he's actually the bot that is whispering to Oliver. So as Oliver gets your input, we're whispering to him on the back end. And we're saying, hey, travel agent alert here. Make sure that you check this out, access these databases because of what's being input. And let's make sure that this is a well-constructed article for travel. So that's one of the things that we're doing that's very different from what just native ChatGTP is doing.
Okay, here's a question. Does ChatGPT hold the copyright for whatever Oliver spits out like it does on its platform?
No. And there's a couple of different reasons for that, and it's a little technical. In fact, I have a visit with an attorney tomorrow to discuss these issues. But essentially, copyright is generated by humans, not by machines. No more than your typewriter has a copyright on the things you produce with it, or your pen. This is a tool. Now there's been speculation about that, but I seriously doubt once you take this out, once you modify the text to add your own brand voice, we've not seen any instance, anything that indicates that there's any serious concern about copyright assignability.
Okay. Another question came through. Can you ask Oliver to fact check onto a specific website, or does it do little or no fact checking?
It does do some fact checking. And in fact, if you look at this, look, there's no pure writing in this because he does have information that he has stored, and he's going to bring that to bear. But I tell people all the time, don't use it like Google. Don't go to it and ask it to research statistics for you. Don't go to it and ask it to give you step-by-step directions in something that's going to be very fact-heavy.
Right.
Do your research first, and then throw the research in here as part of your prompt.
Okay, now people, I know this is where we're headed, and we only have a few more minutes left, but tell me cost. I mean, that's what people are asking, cost, and how does this work for you? Because you've been in beta.
Right. I'm embarrassed by how cheaply we're letting this go through beta. We are allowing people to have access to the system for year one at $200.
And where do they find this? How do we find this? What's the website?
It's a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Let me get to it here. It's Facebook.com/groups/Voyager Content Portal.
And we'll put that in the notes here as well. So Voyager Content Portal is the group for that. Okay.
And this is where agents have been practicing. And I can see I've got some questions to answer. So you can see the kinds of things people are asking. Create an itinerary.
Somebody's asking, how up to date is this? And I thought I understood that all artificial intelligence is only up until 21. Is that true or no?
That's true. Now, the difference is going to be that in those databases that we are feeding Oliver, he's going to have current content, but it still needs to be fact checked. But yes, you can't ask him to check a fare for you. We had one agent asking to check the commission rate on something. He has no idea, and could even make something up. So you definitely don't want to use it like Google.
Okay.
Do you want one more example, or do you want or run out of time?
No, let's do one more example for sure.
So here are the other workflows that we've got. If we go create an itinerary, I'm just going to feed this one in.
Okay, and actually someone's asking, can you build an entire itinerary with this or no? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yes, you can. It's not an itinerary builder per se in the way that, say, Travify is.
Yeah.
But you can create for yourself. Let me pop out of here real quick. Let's start with a fresh screen here. So I'm asking for a 7-day itinerary for Prague. I tell something about my client. My client's a person with a high regard for eating interesting foods and nightlife. Write a paragraph about each of the suggestions, any day trips you might want. Mentioned a couple of things like the Alchemy Museum and the Kaffa Museum that I definitely want him to include. Finally, if there are any pubs and restaurants you would recommend, do so. That's a little chancy because, again, his knowledge stops in 2001. So if that restaurant closed during COVID, it may or not be still open. That's one of the reasons you want to fact check. So,
and that's for artificial intelligence as a whole, not just
content. No, it's all artificial intelligence.
Okay. And why is that? Like, why is it a 2-year delay?
Well, because they trained it. A big piece of its training was Wikipedia. And so they had to have some kind of cutoff point after which they didn't have any, and they would have had to take Wikipedia, stick it on their server, and use it. So it wasn't live Wikipedia. And it's a very complicated process, that type of embedding, but that's what they did. So here's the itinerary suggested. Old Town Square, Prague Castle, the Jewish Quarter, the Charles Bridge, food tour, nightlife, National Theater.
It says day 6 nightlife. So I wouldn't write that like that. Wouldn't nightlife be on day 3 or something? I mean, that's making a whole day.
Perhaps, but that's why you want to edit everything. You don't want to take this out and just use it. You want to edit
one day to just see the Charles Bridge.
Yeah. Don't. What you've got here is a writing assistant. It's not taking your place. It's a writing assistant. I'm going to write this article now much quicker than if I had to sit down and outline it and research it. And I'm still going to do some research to make sure all this is accurate.
So one thing that I want to tell the advisors right here is you can't go over, if you're a brand new advisor and you don't know Prague very well, this isn't gospel, because you're probably going to see Old Town Square, the Prague Castle, and the Charles Bridge all in one day. And if you're not remotely familiar with that, you need to still educate yourself. This isn't your brand new professor.
Again, don't use it for research.
Yeah.
You're not using this for research. You're using this to help you write an article. Now, at this point, you can say, can you expand on the Alchemy Museum? So you're giving him a second prompt now and asking him to elaborate.
Did you ever find any typos or spelling errors in this at all?
Excellent. And like I said, I have
Grammarly on there.
Grammarly continually scooping this stuff out. And so it expanded on that. I could have asked it to expand each of those, and now it would have gotten to be a much larger article. So you can do secondary prompts.
Okay, so someone wants to get in on the, the beta testing for the 200 a year. How do they sign up for that?
Just go to the group, go to that Facebook group, and ask to be admitted, and then you'll find instructions in there.
Okay, and if you're watching, do we have any more questions? Let's wrap up for a minute. Tell me, a couple like of your key points here then for a wrap up, because obviously you guys need to get inside this content portal and then just play around. And it's so addicting. I promise you, like
It is addicting. It's incredible the relationships that we have developed within this beta test. It's been really remarkable, both between me and the agency community and between all of us and Oliver. So yeah, there's a really exciting chemistry that's going on in that beta group.
people are asking, they feel like there's going to be a learning curve with this. Are you going to be offering any courses that go along, or are we going to do
we are going to train you. We're going to monitor. That's one of the values you get with us.
Yeah.
We're going to monitor and train you. When we release this to the public, it'll be $45 a month or $450 a year. So that's a huge break from the beta price, and it's because we've developed Oliver on the recommendations of travel professionals.
Okay. And yes, we're going to put the link. People are saying, can we put the link in here? Yes, we can. And we'll post a Facebook group name too. One more person is saying, can you repeat the info on plagiarism? I'm using Chat GPT and Oliver and love both of them. So can you just clarify? Everybody seems concerned with the plagiarism. So one more time, you're not
plagiarism is an overblown concern. But everyone has it. And therefore, we tell everyone to check the plagiarism. And there's 2 or 3 different free ones out there that you can go to. Just Google plagiarism checker, and you can find plagiarism checkers you can use for free. Most of them also have paid plans. The other thing we recommend as a paid solution is Grammarly. I'm a big Grammarly fan. I use it for my day-to-day writing, and I suggest that you use their plagiarism checker. If it gets to, you're going to see some hits. You're going inevitably, if you put this in a plagiarism checker, you're probably going to get a 7 to 8% plagiarism check. But that's true if you wrote it by yourself. If you wrote an article from scratch on Prague and ran it through, you'd probably get that as well, because you're talking about all the same things that every other person who's ever written about Prague is talking about. And so some of the phrases are going to be the same. If it gets above 10 or higher, then I start to very seriously look at it. But if it's below 10, I consider it a pass.
Okay. And people are asking, does the beta price go through April 15th, or when does the beta pricing end?
The beta price is going to be available through April 15th. You have to sign up by April 15th. We extended this partly because of this webinar, but also because people just needed a little bit of time.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, in conclusion, what do you want to say? As a professional interviewer, say in conclusion. In conclusion, what do you want to say, Richard?
It's an exciting time. I mean, it truly is. And it's like all the other innovations in the industry, it will change the way we work.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. It's never going to replace a travel advisor. That's that silly concept of going out there and asking it to plan an itinerary that you can fool it into saying something silly. That's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is the fact that this can make it better, easier to work, that it can accelerate all of my content production so that I can better service my clients. So use it as the tool it is. Don't use it incorrectly. It's that simple.
Okay, one more question that just came through. Is the beta price for 1 year of the portal, or what are they?
The prices for the entire portal, and at the 15th, we're going to load up other content. So there'll be a ton more content in here. Right now, we've just got some content under each category.
Okay, so there's more to come.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Richard, I think that you're always a treat to speak with. You're so knowledgeable. If you're not following his publications, where can they go to? Because you have a whole nother side
Right.
besides just artificial intelligence. Tell us in a couple sentences what your other life was about before all over.
Yeah. So travelresearchonline.com is where we do a lot of our writing for the travel industry. Um, that publication is now 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
We actually have the third largest Facebook group of all the travel media programs in the industry. That's been a labor of love. It nearly killed me during during COVID because nobody was advertising, but we're putting it all back together now.
Yeah, and I was actually on his podcast during COVID, probably because nobody was advertising back then, but it was a treat. So, okay, so great having you on. You guys, artificial intelligence is really the way of the future for no matter what industry you're in. It's certainly a way you can up your game in selling more premium and luxury travel and attract higher end clients. So always stay tuned in this Facebook group. I'm bringing you the best of the best and so much great training. Thank you, Richard Earls. Thank
Thank you.
you, Oliver. So we'll see you guys later.
Thanks a bunch. Bye bye.